The life and music of George Michael, coming to Popejoy Hall, celebrates the iconic sound and unforgettable performances of one of the greatest international stars of our time. We're thrilled to welcome performer Craig Winberry to share more about this incredible tribute. So thank you for taking time out to talk with me today. The first time I heard about this show, so many things went through my mind. I'm a huge George Michael fan. December 25th will never be the same for me.
No.
That was a hard day. So is this a musical? Is it a autobiography? What is it that we're looking at with the show that you're bringing to Popejoy Hall?
Well, we're looking forward to coming to Albuquerque. The Life and Music of George Michael is a concert style show that celebrates the life and legacy of George Michael.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. It's a concert. It's a theater tour. Some of the people that come to see the show expect like a musical or some type of review that's based more in the theater world, but we are a live action tribute. We do give information about George and how the music was made and where he comes from and his life. But the majority of the storytelling is in the lyrics of the songs that he wrote, because George was very open and honest about where he was in his life, and he put that into his music.
So how has his music impacted you to take the stage and celebrate it?
Well, these are big shoes to fill. When I first got the offer, I pinched myself. First was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then the second was like, oh my gosh, I need to be good. And because I knew what I was getting into. And I've heard comparisons to me, whether what I look like or even what I sound like, that I've always had George comparisons. And I take that as a compliment. I did grow up in the era of MTV videos, and his presence and artistry was always an influence. So in terms of George's influence, it's a lot.
And the man has a catalog. So I have to ask, like, what is your favorite George Michael song?
I get that question a lot, and of course, people always want to know. But I love the deep cuts. I love the songs that maybe because George was huge here in America, but then kind of later in his career, he just stayed more in Europe and globally in that area. So that part of the world has their big hits, but just off the top of my head, Star People, I love that.
Good
I
one.
love Jesus to a Child. I love anything on Listen Without Prejudice. Going back to their first album, fantastic. I love Love Machine. The song, when I'm on the treadmill, are you familiar with that? When I'm on the treadmill and it comes on, I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
And Jesus to a Child. Oh, that's a
So
good one.
personal, yeah.
Yep. I agree with you on the deep cuts. I mean, some of I think, especially looking back at the documentary that just came out, just learning about his deep dive and how he handled songwriting and how he took it so intensely. And I'm sure still to these days, there's people that are just like, the dude from Wham wrote that? I mean, I'm sure that still happens, but amazing songwriter and performer. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
when they first came out, Wham was, it was a teeny bopper group. It was, you know what I mean? It wasn't, they were taken very seriously because they were making a lot of people money. But what they looked past was this man was a generational songwriter. He had the goods, he had the talent, and he had a way to take what was in the consciousness of society and craft poems and add it to sounds of the day. That the reason I still have being able to do this is because the music and the catalog is such of a quality that is going to age forever.
exactly. So let's talk about you. How did you begin your career in with singing and acting?
I've always been a performer. I started singing in church. played in the band in junior high. So music, my mom's a singer and, or she sang at church. So there was music always around, and there's always been a song in my heart. That's what I tell people. I was the kid that was singing commercial jingles, or anytime I would hear something on the radio or anywhere at school or whatever, I would sing it back, and I still do that today. So I've been professionally performing. I've been in New York over a decade, and at the time I was working in a salon, and shampooing someone's head and just singing at the shampoo bowl, and a few chairs down, this person like leans up and looks over to me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," I start singing. And she's like, "Nope, I have somebody you need to go meet." So that led to meeting someone that got me into like commercial acting. Then I was like, you know what? I had thought the ship had sailed for like professional entertainment, but I came to this later in life. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll get back in it. And it's just kind of snowballed from one project. And I finished that, and I've met somebody doing that. And then they have something over here. So I'm very fortunate in that sense to live in a place that has the ability to support live entertainment.
And I know you talked about that, getting the call to take part in this show was, it's a wonderful call to receive.
Yeah.
I have to imagine though, I mean, George Michael, that's some big shoes to fill, as we just talked about. So how do you go about taking that stage to pretty much, in a sense,
Not
become the
have them running
man
me out of
behind the
town
music?
because it was so bad. Yeah. Um, no, I did take it, and I still do take it very seriously. Number one, it's a gift. His songs are gifts that we get to share with the audience, and he has got amazing fans. I, other than just the music itself, I was more interested in like finding interviews of him talking to reporters or Andrew Ridgely or anyone that was in his orbit, and it was amazing. I found a different side of him. I think I found a place where the art was coming from, and the way he would communicate. And like, he was very, very good at taking complex themes and putting them in a way that the masses could understand. A lot of the music in Listen Without Prejudice and then the older album, I mean, the themes of those songs are very deep, and he put a mirror up to social injustice, to LGBTQ rights, to so many other things that like, oh, that's just a song. Like there's a song called Hand to Mouth that's on Listen Without Prejudice. That's wow. Amazing. YouTube, any clips I could find on YouTube of him performing, even if it's like a grainy, those camcorders that were in the 80s, that type of like grainy, bad footage or whatever. But if you could still somewhat make out what he was singing or the sound or whatever, but watching him perform, certain nuances that he kind of had throughout his career. YouTube has been a great asset. The last year, Netflix had a documentary come out. George was also, before he passed away, was working on his own autobiography. It was going to be in a documentary format. So yeah, thank you, internet. And then funny enough, just working here in New York City, before I booked this job, I was working on another show, and the director of photography, the cinematographer, I came to set one day, and I had just gotten the offer, and I cut my hair real short, and I had kind of some scruff, and he looks at me and he's like, "You look like George Michael right now." And I was like, "Oh, well, funny enough, you
Mm-hmm.
can come to a show anyway." And he's like, "Yeah, I did the outside video." I was like, "What?" So I was like, okay. So he's seen the show, and I was extremely nervous when he was in the audience. And we've had other band members from George's band to see the show. And anytime those people are in the room, it's not nerves, but it's a reverence to, I wouldn't call myself an impersonator. Um, but I want to do it justice. Does that make sense?
That absolutely makes sense. I feel it's the same as, and Queen is another, band that I'm just like, "Whoa." Freddie Mercury was an amazing performer. When Adam Lambert took over as frontman of Queen, it was that sense of like, there's no way you could, replace or replicate the person that you have so much love for as you're singing these songs on stage. It is really about, I want to be able to show the audience that love that they have, that we're exchanging this energy of love for this person that brought so much to music and in our lives, and that we could relate no matter what our different livelihoods are. I could
Absolutely.
see that. I could see that. So I'm dealing right now with my son who is soon to be 24. I used to play George Michael to him when he was little. All my kids, it's funny now that they're like,
Good,
I
mama.
remember this song. I was like, he came to me, and we actually watched the documentary that you mentioned. After it was funny. It seems like he's discovering George Michael as a gay man in these early years of his life. And so when he was listening to the music, he was just like, why does it sound familiar? And I was like, probably because I played it over and over and over again. So it seemed fitting that we watched the documentary together. So I know with this particular show, you're dealing with generations coming in, those who grew up watching him blossom and go through the MTV era and go through the record label slavery bondage thing, and then feeling free to express himself how he wants. So you got that generation, and now you got generations that are hearing it for the first time and feeling that connection. So what have you seen with these shows, with the audiences that have come to see it? How are they resonating with the show?
I love this question and thank you for asking it. What I'm seeing is the majority, the majority of the people that come to see the show grew up. They were teenagers or early 20s when the music was coming out. What I'm seeing now is mothers who were huge George Michael fans back in their day. They have their 15, 16, 17-year-old daughters that, like you said, they might have introduced the material to them, but they're standing there looking at their mothers so happy and having a good time. It's just so beautiful to see, like you said, a generation introduce, something that was special and they have nostalgia or good memories to where it sparks something in your eyes that when your kid sees it, they're like, oh, they're happy. So that's one thing. And I was on TikTok the other day, just scrolling, whatever. And it amazes me, especially around Christmas. Last Christmas was like the trending audio around around that in December on TikTok, and I was like, of everything out there, and I think that's amazing. I think Last Christmas finally hit number one after 40 years this year in the UK. That's just a sign of the genius. It's a sign of the quality of craftsmanship that he was putting together. So when new people were finding this, they're like, wait a minute. He said this in 1995, 96. Whoa, one of my favorite videos of George is it's so funny. It's George Michael and Garth Brooks of all people at a human rights campaign fundraiser. I think they're in Dallas, Texas, and they come out and sing Freedom 90. And I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, and Garth Brooks is always, you would think being from the, country roots that like, no, he was right there. And that's how that's a testament to George, how he can bring all types of people together.
And when I look at all the collaborations that he did, I mean, one of my favorite was As with Mary J. Blige. Still, I can listen to that song over and over and over.
It holds
again.
up, right?
Oh, exactly.
Today,
And
you can release that today.
exactly. And just when we were talking about favorite songs, Flawless for me, and the video just, oh yeah, I can
I love that
once
video.
again. Another song I can listen to over and over again. So, what do you want audiences to walk
Cause you're
away?
beautiful. Love that song. I was working on it yesterday. Unfortunately, it's not in the set list. So sorry to.
Oh, you know
Spoiler
what?
alert! Spoiler alert!
There were so many others I can enjoy when I'm there. So, what do you want audiences walking away feeling when they leave the theater?
The same happiness that they felt the first time they heard it. And again, it's not an impression or an exact replication because as a singer, I've heard that since I started singing as a younger kid. They're like, "Oh, you got a little George Michael in there," and I'm like, "Sure." Like I love the way his voice sounded. I like how some of that inflection, like him when he, you're like, "Oh my gosh, who is this?" And he just had all types of um, musicality and things. He was a true artist. So I hope when people leave the show, number one, they have a smile from ear to ear. And we do a couple of songs and then we'll open it up and the VIPs usually ask, what's your favorite song? Or we hear this a lot too. They're like, I saw George in whatever year and whatever venue. And I find that fascinating because I was like, oh, what do you remember about the show? And then they get to share it's information that you can't necessarily find on the internet. It's
Exactly.
people's actual reviews, Ticketmaster didn't exist in the 80s and 90s, where people could leave their reviews. So it's word of mouth, which is interesting.
Not to mention, you could probably go see George Michael for, I don't know, $30.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh. I was working on Praying for Time. I mean, you could again, that could be released today. Okay, if you're listening, any major mainstream artist right now, please somebody release Praying for Time. The lyrics are so of today and what's going on, and we should just
The man was a genius in what he did, and I truly appreciate you and this cast taking on this show to show those who might not have experienced him back in the day that they get to hear the music today.
Yeah,
the magic of that.
So we have two. So the show has two Georges. So we have a gentleman who will cover the Wham hits, and then I cover the solo. And we have a couple of surprises in there. There's some duets, maybe one that you might like to hear. Yeah.
I can guess what it is.
Yeah, you said it. You said it. Yeah. When we sang As in Detroit last year when we went out, I was so nervous because Stevie Wonder's from Detroit, but George covered several of Stevie Wonder's songs
and his work.
Got his approval too. Stevie Wonder was like, "Sing it, boy." So I was nervous when we sang As in Detroit because there are some people that are diehard fans and you never know. Again, I'm not trying to an exact replicate, but it's like I just want to sing well and make people happy.
And I think from the clips that I've seen, you are doing just that. I think.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like an amazing show. I'm so excited to see it live. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And yes, my son will be with me. So I'm also happy that I can just share that.
What is I don't think I've asked you, what's your favorite George Michael song?
Well, I can imagine how difficult when you get asked this question that would be.
It's usually which way the wind's blowing because I have so many, and then sometimes they're like, "Craig, the question's over." I was like, "Oh no, I forgot this one."
For me, I guess it would be that whole generational thing. I still get just pumped up when I hear "Wake Me Up Before You Go," being a little kid listening to that. As I got older, "Flawless" is in my top 5. "Freak" is one of the most. I know. Like everybody needs to listen to that.
George Michael.
Yes, I love the man, and his rendition of "Feeling Good" still to this day is one of the best ones that I heard.
He didn't tour that song. The last tour when he saw that, I don't know if you've seen or whatever, but what he did it was around the time of the Iraq war and when we were invading that or whatever, and he got super political and people stopped playing here in America because of that. But that, again, it's that music video is just, oh my gosh, crazy.
Oh, yep. But those would be, and that was four. It's not even favorite.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I got like seven, seven
Yeah.
favorite ones. But just like I said, the man's catalog, there is something for everyone. So I know that this show will definitely resonate with
Right, like you like Broadway. We got some big Broadway ballads in Georgia's. Like you know you like going to the club, shaking it. We got some of that in this show. Do you like to just like hear wonderfully arranged music? We've got that in there for you. So we got everything for everybody.
I am so excited. Craig, thank you so much for talking with me today about the show. So looking forward to it and seeing you on stage.
All right, take care. Have a wonderful day.
You too.